It was a winter evening when I first saw her. The air was crisp, the streets soaked in golden lamplight, and the city moved in slow motion, except for her. She stood near a bookshop window, her hair catching the glow, her fingers tracing the glass as if the stories inside were whispering to her. There was something about her presence, not loud, not dramatic, but quietly magnetic. She wore no makeup, no flashy colors. Just a soft cream sweater, a long coat, and that kind of stillness that made the world pause. I remember thinking, she looks like poetry that never needed words. And then she smiled. Not at me, not even in my direction. She was just reading the title of a book and smiled. But that smile, it was like watching a star being born. It held sadness and strength, wonder and peace, all at once. It wasn't just a smile, it was a story, and I knew I wanted to read every chapter of it. I couldn't stop myself. Something in me, the part that had been numb for years, pulled me toward her. I stepped into the bookshop, pretending to browse. She looked up, and our eyes met. It wasn't dramatic. No background music. Just quiet recognition. "Is that one any good?" I asked, nodding toward the book in her hand. She smiled again, this time at me, and the air in my lungs felt lighter. I haven't read it yet, but I like the title. The Art of Stillness. It feels honest. Her voice was soft, like a late-night confession. We ended up talking for almost an hour, sitting on the shop's wooden bench under warm lights. Her name was Era. She loved rainy days, jazz records, and had a habit of staring at the sky for too long. I told her I used to paint, but hadn't touched a brush in years. She didn't ask why. She just listened, like my silence had meaning too. And when she smiled again, I knew it wasn't by accident that I'd met her. It was fate in its quietest form. Over the weeks, Era became a rhythm in my life. We'd meet for tea, sometimes without a word exchanged for minutes, and yet it never felt empty. She was beautiful, not just in the way she looked, but in the way she noticed. The way she stopped for street musicians, smiled at children, and always left notes in secondhand books for strangers to find. "Little moments matter," she once told me, "because they're the only real ones." She wasn't trying to impress anyone, not even me. And maybe that's why I fell so hard. I found myself sketching again, but only her. Her laugh, her gaze, that impossible smile. The kind of smile that made you believe, even when everything else had failed you. One day, I asked her what made her so gentle with the world. She looked at me for a long moment and said, "Because life wasn't gentle with me, and I don't want to pass that pain on." That was the day I realized her smile wasn't just beautiful. It was brave. One evening, while the city drowned in soft rain, we walked side by side, not touching, but completely connected. The scent of wet earth, the shimmer of lights on the pavement, it all felt surreal. I stopped walking. I said, "I don't know what this is or where it's going, but I think you're the most important part of my life now." She didn't respond right away. She looked up at the sky, rain touching her cheeks like tears the clouds forgot to hold back. Then she turned to me, her eyes glassy, and whispered, "I'm afraid." "Of what?" I asked. "Of being loved the way I never was before." And then she smiled. Through the fear, through the uncertainty. It wasn't wide. It wasn't perfect, but it was everything. That smile, fragile, real, and raw, felt like home. I held her hand for the first time, and in that moment, we weren't two broken people anymore. We were one beautiful beginning. Love, I've learned, doesn't arrive with grand gestures. It comes quietly, like her smile. We never had a big moment, no dramatic kiss in the rain, no sweeping music. Just her head on my shoulder on a park bench, watching leaves fall. Just her laughter in a dark theater, echoing louder than the film. Just her voice on late nights saying, "You make the silence feel safe." Months passed, and every day with Era felt like pages in a book I never wanted to end. But it wasn't always perfect. She had days when she disappeared into herself, memories that haunted her. But even then, even in her worst moments, she smiled. For me, for herself, for the hope that things can be better. And that's what changed my life. Not just that she smiled, but that she chose to, again and again. Her smile taught me how to feel again. how to live again. And even now, years later, when she's sitting across from me, reading under a sunlit window, I still think the way she smiled changed my life forever.